Hello again. Business Math, Chapter 11, Section 4. And we're going to do other types of life insurance. So Section 3 was about term life insurance, and we calculated a few kind of basic things on that one. It wasn't too crazy. This one's not really going to be too much either. It's a little bit more basic as far as the calculations they're asking you to do. So again, whenever they give you a table like this here, this is just a table, and I'm going to erase that because that's kind of ugly. But so there's just a table. I don't have to fill anything in on that table. This is just for information. So when you're given things to be filled in, it'll look like this down here where I can see number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. This is the table I need to start filling out. But just because there's blank pieces here doesn't mean I need to fill them in. They're just blank. There's no information for that spot in the table. So more than likely we wouldn't be using those spots, right? Because they're blank. All right, so let's go ahead and read the description here. So we have life insurance provides financial protection for your dependents in case of your death. Other types of insurance include whole life insurance that offer financial protection of your entire family, limited payment insurance that offers lifetime protection with a limited number of payments, and universal life insurance, which is a combination of life insurance policy and a savings plan. So a couple of different options there as far as life insurance goes. It's not just the term life insurance from lesson 3, which is they go through that one first because it tends to be the cheaper one, mainly because the rate goes up usually about every 5 years or so, depending on your age. So with this one, it still is going to change by age. If we look at this column, we have an age column. We also have male, female, male, female, male, or female. So we have to be looking at those columns. And the reason it goes male, female, male, female, male, or female is we have different things up here. So it depends on what we're choosing. Are we paying paid up at age 65? So that's an option that you can choose. Is it whole life? That's another option. Or is it $50,000 universal life? So these are 3 different options you can choose. You have to make sure, which one am I choosing? And then go down, am I male or female? And that tells you the amount per 1,000. Again, that's also in this column. So if I want $50,000, remember we're going to have to divide that by 1,000 because we need to know how many thousands there are in there, how many units are there. And that's what we're going to multiply by each one of these numbers when we get a number out of there. Because this $1,175 for a 20-year-old male paid up at 65, because it's in this column, paid up at 65, male, and 20, it's $1,175 per $1,000. So it's not just $1,175, because more than likely he's going to have so much in order to even get it. There's usually a minimum of a number of thousands. But for every single 1,000, that's how much it costs. So that's why we need to divide by the 1,000 to begin with, so we know how many of those there are in there, right? So, and that was a practice in section 3. So I went through that a little slower, I believe, in section 3. So you can always go back and watch that video for that information. So here, I'm going to undo these circles just so they're out of our way. So let's go ahead and take a look at number 1 here. So we have a name, an insured person. We have their gender, we have their age, and we have their choice. So it's telling us paid up to 65, whole life, universal. It's giving us, what are they choosing as far as the 3 plans that they have here. And then we say annual premium per unit. So they're having you grab that from the table. So this one comes straight from the table, just like on section 3. Then they're telling you the coverage they're choosing. How much are they choosing? And then we do the number of units. Remember, number of units is just how many thousands are there. So we just divide by 1,000 here. And then what we're going to do is take the number of units and multiply that by the annual premium per unit. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So Al Henderson, he's a male, he's 20 years old, and he wants paid up at 65. So I'm going to come up here, paid up at 65. There it is. He's male, and he's 20. So I'm going to go right there to that very first one when I was kind of doing that just a minute ago, and I have 1175. So I'm simply just going to write 1175 in here. Nothing too crazy on that one. We're just writing the answer or the piece from the chart. So everything from here you're going to pull from the chart. So if it's whole life, for Al Shat, I don't know how to say that. Al. We're just going to call him Al. He's male. He's 25 and he wants whole life. So we're going to go whole life. Here's whole life. He's male and he is 25. So we're going to go to the 25 here. So we're going to come over here, and there we go. We have 950. I don't suggest you draw in your table because you're going to need to keep using it. I'm just showing you where I'm getting these numbers from. So I put 950 in here. I skipped this one. You can fill that one out all by yourself there, I think. I'll skip this one and we'll go to universal. So we have universal. Didn't say $50,000 universal life, but this is the one they're saying when they say universal. I want you to come over here. It doesn't matter if they're male or female. They're just going to have the same payment. But the age does matter. So both of these are 45 by chance. So I'm going to come over here to 45. So I'm going to go over, down, So I'm going to get $69.50. So it'll actually be the exact same thing here because it doesn't matter if they're male or female. It truly matters on the age. So why not? Go ahead and fill that in. It's going to be the exact same amount there. All right. So I'm going to, undo these. I wanted to take away all the circles here so we can see this. I'm going to rewrite these. Like that. So here we go. So this is part of our chart filled out. So I'm only going to do a couple more calculations here, and then I'm going to let you do the rest. So the next part here is our first Al here. We have two Al's on the list here. So number one, he wants $200,000 in coverage. So remember, we need, for number of units, you want to divide this whole column by 1,000, and that's what we put in here. So we're just simply going to divide by 1,000, and we get 200. Okay? So same thing. We're just dividing by the 1,000. I am going to also do number 5 because you're going to get kind of a weird number here. So we'll come back down to 5 in just a moment so that you can kind of see what's going on here. So with this annual premium, we're just going to take this 200 number of units. That's, remember how many thousands are in here. And we're going to multiply by the 1175. That's how much it costs him for every one of these units. So that's why we have to multiply. So it's going to end up costing him $2,350 and then 00 because no cents on there. Okay. So that first column is nicely filled out for us. All right. So with this next one, it's a little different, and I'm skipping the rest of these. I'm going to let you fill in the rest of these. I'm coming down here to number 5 so that we can take a look at this. It's a little different because here it says per 1,000, right? But there's a line. It stops right there. Now it's 50,000. So for every 50,000, this is the price. Okay. So it's a little different. So what we want to do is divide by, and here I'm going to move. Whoop. I'm going to move down a little bit just so that you can kind of see what I'm doing. Whoop, stop doing that. So on these two down here, we're going to divide by 50,000. That's how we get the numbers that go in these two columns here. So 150,000 divided by 50,000, we get 3. Okay. So it's a little different. We're not dividing by 1,000 on these bottom two because they're universal. So we have to pay attention to those labels up top. That's kind of what tells us how many each unit is. So for these two, didn't mean to zoom out there, but for these two, it's $1,000 for every single unit. And in this one, a unit is $50,000. So we just have to pay attention to that. I'm going to zoom back in here because it's a little too much for me there. All right, so that's probably good enough. So let's go ahead and finish this off. So we have, and they want annual premium. So there's 3 units, and this is the monthly premium. So how many months are there in a year? 12 months, right? So this one has another little trick to it. So this is 3 units that we want to multiply by our 6950. But we also want to multiply, and sorry, I'm running out of room here, by 12 because every month we're going to be paying this amount. So every month we have 3 units of insurance, that's $69.50, and we're going to be paying that every single month of the year. So we want to make sure we multiply these by 12 again, and that'll get us our total amount. If you don't multiply by 12 again, what you've calculated is the monthly amount, not the annual amount, and they're asking for the annual amount. So make sure you're paying attention to that wording there, just to make sure you get the right calculation here. So when you multiply these three numbers together, 69.50 or $69.50 times 3 times 12, you'll get $2,502. So that's how much you'll pay over the entire year. So it's just one of those things. Pay attention to that, the wording there. Down below, there's nothing crazy going on about this. They're just giving you a little bit more wording here. You know, they're putting it out in a word problem instead of putting it in a chart here. But you're looking for the same information. Male or female, what is their age, what plan are they choosing, how much are they choosing, and then you go through and calculate it the same way. You need to know the number of units. So pay attention to, you know, which side of the chart it's on here. You're either going to divide by 1,000 or 50,000 for the number of units. And then once you have your number of units, you need to multiply by your annual premium per unit. So that has to do with their age and usually their gender, right? Again, this side of the column is the only one that kind of changes there. It doesn't matter male or female, it's the same amount. But the age does still matter on that one. So you always want to match it up, column and row, and then pick that amount. Down here, you're going to have two answers. For whatever reason, they don't give you two lines here, but they say, you know, what is Al's annual premium? Because they have Viola and Al Quillian. So they want Al's annual premium and Viola's. So they say both of them. Usually they give you two lines to indicate that. This one, they forgot the second line. So make sure you calculate both of those just to get full credit there. And that is chapter 11. We are all done with chapter 11. I will see you in chapter 12.